Hey, welcome to the broadcast. John Mayfield with Global Real Estate School. And we are going live streaming for our study session tonight with Global Real Estate School. So don't forget, we have the comments on. You can ask a question. It doesn't matter if you are on Facebook or YouTube. I'm broadcasting both to those sites, so feel free to join in and ask any questions you want. Apologize for my little dog barking in the background. We must have some folks going by outside on their bicycles. It's a beautiful fall evening, but you want to pass the real estate exam because I'm telling you what, the real estate market is going to turn around. And I know this would be a great time for you to get your real estate license. So I'm going to go over to the board here and we're going to pick up with Chapter 7, I believe, is where we're at. We talked about legal descriptions last week, and so we're going to talk about taxes tonight. And I'm just going to double check very quickly, make sure that the live stream is moving out and going, and it looks like things are progressing here. So you can actually watch this from our YouTube channel. And that is, if you go to YouTube and you just search for Global Real Estate School, that will pop up for you and you can watch right there. You can also go to Global Real Estate School. There we go. You can always go to Global Real Estate School and you can watch from Global Real Estate School and check us out there as well. So. Looks like we are up and going live stream right now. So we're going to go over to the board and we're going to get into Chapter 7. We're going to talk about taxes tonight. So I am just kind of going into the study sessions. So content library, top left corner. Remember, everyone has what we call review modules. I said study sessions. This is a study session. And so the review modules are unlocked, which means you can actually go through those without any timers, without any restrictions of moving forward. You can actually use the menu button. I'll show you this here. We're on Chapter 7. So you can use the menu button. And what I mean by that is from the menu button. So now I'd always encourage you in the review modules to hit the start feature. And we will turn the volume down. What I mean by the review modules, and I'm going to come out here so you can see me both places, is that with the review modules, you can actually come right up here to that little area there, and then you can see these are all of the slides in this module. Well, in the normal course, you have to start with Chapter 1, and you cannot go forward until I finish speaking. So each of these slides are locked, but in the review modules, you could come all the way down and just click on the Let's Review and go right into the final end of module course exam that I have for you. That's why they're called review. They are free and open like a free bird. You can use that menu button and go anywhere you want to review. Sometimes I have students that want to go back in the main course to review, and I go over this and over this. And then they open the module and they are like, oh gosh, I didn't mean to do that, or I don't want to go through the whole thing. Well, in the main course, once you finish that module, you never, ever, ever want to go back into that module. You want to come out to, I'm going to exit right there. You want to come out here to the course you want. So you want to exit out. You want to come up here to Content Library, top left corner, and click on that. And then you want to scroll down to the review modules. And that's where you can go in and review. So if you're like, I really want to go back over chapter 3 again, this is where you would do it in the review modules, because they're open, they're free, and you can go over them as many times as you want. And again, one last caution, just follow along here. Hit the restart button at the bottom, not the resume. Sometimes people say, I went back into review and I can see my answers. Well, restarting the module flushes out all of your choices. So always hit restart, okay? And that'll give you a free slate. So I'm going to go down to chapter 7, and we are going to hit restart. And so that's going to give us a whole fresh slate, and that's where we're going to get started tonight. So now do not forget, if you have questions, you can ask those in the chat, and we will go over those with you. So we're talking about taxes tonight. It is part, you're going to see this on the real estate exam. I can't remember how many minutes I have for this module. Some of those I give you the exact minutes, and we have some learning objectives. But we're going to start right here. And I kind of talked about the Uncle Pete the other day. I don't know if you remember Uncle Pete. I refer to Uncle Pete. Pete is an acronym, which means every letter in the word Pete stands for something you need to know for the real estate exam. So let's drop down here so that we can see what Uncle Pete means. Now, I am going to get a brand new whiteboard, and we were live streaming earlier today, and so I want to make that one more bigger. So here we go. So we have Uncle Pete, P-E-T-E. Again, it is an acronym that you need to know. And an acronym basically just means each one of these letters in this word pertain to something that you need to know for the exam. And it's an easy way for us to remember several topics as one word. For example, Pete, P-E-T-E. So let's look at this. Now, why do I refer to Uncle Pete as Uncle Sam's brother? Well, Uncle Sam, we know, we associate it with the government, right? In fact, that's the little diagram I have here. I want you to think of the government, okay? That's why I use that diagram here. And so Uncle Pete, we could say, is Uncle Sam's brother. And so I use that reference because I want you to connect the government. So I want you to remember there's a government relationship with Uncle Pete. So what do we mean by that? When you purchase property, or you even, and I always say purchase, but somebody could give you property, correct? Somebody could not only give you property, but they could will it to you. I guess that's another type of giving you the property, but this would be through inheritance. You could acquire property through adverse possession. So there's lots of ways that you can acquire property. And so I just want you to understand that you own that property because this is, remember, fee simple. You own that property free and clear with the exception of Uncle Pete. Now, remember, not only fee simple, but fee simple determinable. We talked about, or defeasible. That's with restrictions. Defeasible. That's with restrictions that could be on the property. And we also can connect fee simple with freehold estate. And when we think of freehold estate, what I want you to remember here is what? Ownership. Okay? Because we talked about non-freehold, and you need to put these together for the exam. Non-freehold associates with leases or a lease. And so there is no ownership here with a non-freehold estate or a leasehold estate. Remember, we could also put that as leasehold. There's no ownership interest. You just have rights that you have to quiet enjoyment. You're renting the property, and you can have quiet enjoyment without the landlord coming over and telling you what you can do and what you can't do. So this brings us here to say that when you purchase real estate, you own the property in fee simple, also known as, could be a fee simple to feasible. It's a freehold estate, and it has to do with ownership, right? And you own this property free and clear. It's yours. It could go on. Remember, one of the interesting things about this is it could go on forever. And so the time limit could go on and on. With a non-freehold estate, it does have a time period, right? Just want you to kind of keep all of this runs together, and you got to keep it all in mind. So you purchase real estate. It's a freehold estate. It's fee simple, could be fee simple to feasible, could be even in the form of a life estate, right? We talked about that. And it's yours. You can do anything you want to with it except any restrictions or recorded items that are listed with that if it's a fee simple to feasible, except for Uncle Pete. And the acronym, the first one is police power. And I'm going to put, okay, imminent. I'm a creative speller, so don't be upset with me. Eminent domain. We'll be talking about we've talked about some of them already. Taxes, the government's right to tax your property, and escheat, escheat, escheat. That is when you die without heirs and without a will. Okay? Escheat. You need to know that for the test. You die without a will and without heirs. Your property escheats or goes to the government. Could be the county, the state. Just depends on the state laws, basically, for escheat. And so I just want you to get your mind around this concept of police power, that you own the property, it's yours. Nobody can tell you what you can do, what you can and can't do, except for those items that are listed on the deed and recorded at the courthouse, okay? If I say you can't have any businesses on it, then you can't. But you can do all these other things at your property, except for Uncle Pete, police power. Well, what's police power? Well, that would be things like zoning. You can't have a beauty shop in your basement because you're in a residential neighborhood. You can't have a daycare in your home because you're in a residential neighborhood. You have to put a business where planning and zoning allows businesses. So police power, that also includes building codes. You can't put this size of a home on a lot, or if you build a home, you have to put it so many feet back from each lot line. There's building codes, there's zoning. That's all part of police power. The government can, if you have county zoning or city zoning, they can tell you what you can and can't do. That's part of Uncle Pete. Eminent domain, that's when they take private property for public use. So a lot of times we hear about the city government taking property and condemning it and then using it for a shopping center or a football stadium, whatever. They have to take the property. They use eminent domain. The process is through what we call condemnation. It's a test question. And there are 3 items that have to be met, which we talked about recently. Has to be for the good of the public, the people. Just compensation. They can't just, they have to pay you fair market value. And due process of law. You have the right to get an attorney and go to court and, try to defend what you need for your property. So there's 2 items under police power. Police or under Uncle Pete, sorry. Police power, eminent domain, taxes. The government has the right to tax you. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And escheat. If you die without an heir, without a will and without heirs, your property escheats to the government. Okay. So I take a quick drink of water there. So back over to the monitor. If we go back now to the course, we can see here that when you own property, you got to think about Uncle Pete. And we're going to look at the T in Uncle Pete, which is for taxation. So here's a piece that you might have on the exam. And I notice we have several people watching tonight, a few people watching. So I do want you to know if you have questions, you can type those in the chat and they'll come right through, okay? So feel free to do that if you want to. And hopefully that looks a little bit blurry. I hope that is not that blurry for you there. So I'm hoping that will clear up a little bit because I'm kind of looking at the live stream there and it looks a little blurry on my end, but hopefully that is not looking bad on your end. So my apologies if it is. I'm just going to keep an eye on that real quickly here. So this word here called ad valorem means according to value. In other words, the tax is being charged on the value of the property. Okay? So it's ad valorem according to value. Okay, now I see we have one question came in. Blue says it's blurry on her end too. So let me do this. I don't know what that problem could be. I am going to try to close a couple of items on my end here very quickly, just to see if that could be some. I've got a few programs open And maybe blue, that will help us if I close a few of these windows out. I'm going to refocus my screen here, and let's see if that looks a little better. And so my apologies. By the way, that looks better there. I think maybe my computer was low on some resources. So I am like closing down as many applications as I can to try to help that out. And that looks like it's doing much better now. Blue, does that look pretty good on your end now? Might be a little bit better there. So my apologies about that. I think the problem was I was kind of low on computer resources. So hopefully, Blue, you can kind of give me a heads up there if that looks a little bit better. It's the same. Try refreshing your window, Blue, and see if that helps any. If there's anyone else watching, if you can let us know. That would be great. Because I've refreshed on my window and I'm getting a much clearer picture now. And if I have to stop the live stream and come back on, I will do that. I'm just kind of waiting. Looks good now. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I think that was kind of my problem, was that it was definitely had an issue there. Now, I don't know why you shouldn't be looking at that screen. You should be looking at that screen right there. So, okay. All right, so coming back over. So I want to now go to, and I can see, this is the bad thing here because Windows was downloading some updates, which probably with everything going on, but this computer got an update right in the middle of this. I can look down here, and if I clicked on that, you'll see here that I'm going to schedule a restart for today at 8:30. We'll do that p.m. Okay. All right, so that probably did not help all of that either, and so my apologies there. Okay, so let's come over here. Let me just kind of talk about this ad valorem. So AD, and I am a creative speller, but I want to make sure I get this right. OREM. And this means according to value. And here's what you have to understand. If Bob and Mary own a $60,000 house and Ted and I'll use Lori because I have some friends named Ted and Lori, own a $200,000 home, who will pay the most taxes? Well, Ted and Lori will. Why? Because taxes are based on the value of the property, and that's what this ad valorem means, is according to value. So you will pay, they will pay a lower tax because they have a lower value. And that's what we mean by ad valorem, according to value. So you will pay taxes in proportion to the value of the home you have. For example, a person who owns a $300,000 home will pay more tax than a person who owns a $100,000 home. The more expensive the real estate you own, the more tax you will pay. So keep that in mind. Very, very important. It's also important, and they love this question on the test, so I would take a good note of this. Real property tax liens take priority over all other liens, okay? So real estate tax liens take priority, all right? If you have a sale at the courthouse, and this is how the sale would go if it was a foreclosure sale. There's a first mortgage of, let's say, $100,000. There's a second mortgage for $20,000. There is IRS taxes or an IRS lien of $5,000. There's mechanics liens for $3,000. And there's back real estate taxes owed of $6,000. The tax lien will take priority over this. The real estate taxes will get paid first because tax liens take priority over all other liens. Sorry about that. You see my Porsche that I'm believing in, so soon, right? Real estate taxes. To determine what the taxes will be on real estate in the county where the real estate is located, several things need to be established. The authorities perform assessments on all of the properties available. Then they calculate a tax rate. Now, thank goodness for the exam. You're not going to have to really get this deep. You do need to know what a mill is, okay? So I can't write on the screen here because we're inside a learning management system. But if you'll just know that John's saying, I need to know what a mill is. It's 1/1000th of a dollar or 1/10 of a penny, 0.001. Therefore, 40 mills would be expressed as 0.040. The tax rate would be expressed as mills per $100 or mills per $1,000, okay? 50 mills equals $5 per 100 of assessed value, or $50 per 1,000 of assessed value. This gets complicated, but don't worry. We're going to make sure that you understand that, okay? I'm just going to go past this right now. So a typical tax problem might look like this. The tax assessment ratio for a house valued at $90,000 is 40%. If the tax rate is $3.50 per 1,000 of assessed value, what is the quarterly tax bill? Okay? Now, first of all, don't freak out on these, okay? Because I'm going to help you learn how to solve these problems. But what you need to know is you need to see and look for trigger words, okay? What do I mean by trigger words? Well, look at this question here. It says what? It says, what is the quarterly tax bill, not the annual tax bill? So let's take a look at this. If I hit the Show Me button, this would walk us through this problem right here. I forgot I had a little video there. And I could probably just play that video, but I think what I'll do is go right back here. Whoops, I'm in the wrong one there. Go back up here, and I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to work this for you on the board. So we'll just do it again. So 90,000 is 40%. If the tax rate is $3.50 per 1,000, what's the quarterly tax bill? So the way we work this is we do our T problem, which we've been doing. And remember, John always does what? He always puts his math symbols on the T. So we always put the division up on the top. That's what that means, divide. Okay, because we've got the divide, and this means multiply. Now, there are three pieces to every T problem. If you have one at the top and one at the bottom, our math tells us to do what? Tells us to divide. And by the way, you will always put the top number in first in your calculator. All right? And I'm going to just get rid of all of those. There we go. I had number 3. If we had, remember I just said if we had one top and one bottom, we divide. And this number always goes in first. Okay? So don't forget that. Now let's just get rid of the red and look at this another way. If I had one, or if I had both numbers on the bottom, what does our math tell us to do? It says to multiply, right? So that's how we work this T problem. Now, remember, this is part, the top, and John, that's me, says always remember this as the smaller the number. It does become a big number on another type of a problem, but generally it's always a smaller number. This is total, so that's your bigger number. And this is always going to be the rate or the percent, okay? So if we have the total and we have the rate, what does our math tell us to do? It says multiply that? Well, let's just take a look here. In our problem, the house is $90,000, right? The value, it's the larger number. And the rate is 40%. And if we move our decimal over, that'll be 0.40. And so our math tells us to multiply. So 90,000 times 0.40. And I probably should get the 3 out of there now and the 1 so you don't get confused there. This is what we're solving for, the part. So 90,000 times 0.40 is 36,000. Now what is 36,000? If we come back here to the problem, the tax assessment ratio for a house valued at 90,000 is 40%. If the tax rate is $3.50 per 1,000 of, do you see that, assessed value? Well, that's what this is. That's the assessed value, ASSESED value. Okay, now let's go back to the problem. So we know 90,000 times 40% gives us the assessed value. If the tax rate is $3.50 per 1,000th of assessed value, what's the quarterly tax? Well, now we just need to do 36,000 and divide it by 1,000, right? And that gives us 36. And the question said, if the tax rate is $3.50 per 1,000 of assessed value, what's the quarterly tax? Well, times 350. Was that correct, 350? Yes. So, and I would double check my math, times 3.50 equals $126. That would be the annual tax. But the problem wanted to know what the quarterly tax is. So we would just divide that by 4. And we get $31.50. I wish my taxes were that, but remember, it's according to value. I don't know how that happened. There we go. Oh, come on, technology. Don't do that to me. There we go. So $43.50 would be the answer. See how we did that? Again, I'm just going to walk you back through this so you can see. And let me use a different highlighter or something so we can see this here. So I'm just going to make that a little bigger. So we took the $90,000 right here was the value of the property, and we multiplied it by the tax rate. It was taxed at 40%, and that gives us the assessed value. We were solving for the part, and the part in this case is the assessed value, which gave us 36,000. The problem then said it's taxed at $3.50 per 1,000 of assessed value. Well, 36,000 divided by 1,000 gives us 36, times $3.50 gives us the annual tax of $126, but the problem wanted to know what the quarterly tax was, and that's how we arrived at $31.50. Any questions about that? Can I help anyone answer that? or anybody need any help? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions come through. Please type them in, and I will be more than happy to answer those. I should see those come through on my Restream chat. So if you have a question, even if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, please feel free to type those in, and I can get to that for you. All right, I'm just kind of making sure that we don't have any questions popping up. Okay, and on Facebook, it is saying that, I'm just going to go out to Facebook and look real quick on our Global Real Estate School page and just make sure that if anybody has any questions there, you can type those in and take a look on the Global Real. I'm broadcasting both to our group and to our Global Real Estate School page, so I don't see any questions right now. So, all right, good. Let's continue on and go on to the next one. We have what's called an equalization factor. Some areas allow for what is called an equalization factor to make up for inequalities in the jurisdiction. For example, if one area of the state is 10% lower with regards to assessments, then they actually can add this equalization factor to help raise taxes up. And I don't think you will, we're going to do one here. I don't think you will have that on the exam, but I just want you to know that equalization factors help take areas that are a little more distressed or where property values have declined, where the government can add this equalization factor to help raise taxes up to where they really should be. Taxes can also be in the form of what we call a special assessment. You will probably see something in regards to a special assessment on the exam. And a special assessment is a tax levied on the real estate for a special purpose. It could be sidewalks, curbs and gutters. It could be for a new swimming pool. And here's how you might see this on the exam, and I want you to just understand this. If the city, I was on city council once, and we had a subdivision, and so, let me get rid of that. We had a subdivision, and so let's just say this is a subdivision here, and this is Smith Street. And so this is Smith Street, and then this is Taylor. Okay, Taylor Avenue. And these are homeowners. So this is 101 Smith Street, 103 Smith Street, 105, 107, and 109. And then this, I'm going to do a different color. We'll do blue. This is a new sidewalk that the city wants to put in. So I'm going to just, now, if they enacted a special assessment, first of all, the people have to vote on it and approve it. And so all of these people may say, we want a new sidewalk. That would be great because we want to, we want to get out and walk more and do things. And so the question on the exam might say, of these lot owners, who will pay the most special assessment in this scenario? And the answer would be lot owner 109. They will pay more because remember, ad valorem, according to value. Well, look, they have more sidewalk than anyone else, don't they? These people just have it in front of their house. But 109 actually has the benefit of the sidewalk, or if it was a sewer, being more. So on the exam, if you see someone who has a longer footage of sidewalk or whatever, they're going to pay more of a special assessment than the other lot owners. But here's what I really want you to remember about special assessments. A special assessment is a tax, okay? So it's going to take priority on liens too if it hasn't been paid, but it's a tax. It carries the same weight. Anyway, I should say CA, but it's equivalent to a tax, okay? It carries the same weight as a tax. It is a tax, and it has to be approved and voted by the people. But for that special assessment, it could be a swimming pool for the local community, could be a number of things. I just want you to understand that those who benefit the most, in this example, if it was a sewer line or a tax or a sidewalk, they're going to pay more. But a special assessment is a tax. And so you're going to have to pay for that. Other special assessments need a vote of the public, but they could be for public schools, government-owned properties, hospitals, lots of things that you could see in that example. Okay, I want to work one of these. I'm probably going to come in tomorrow and finish up these because my voice is, I did some live streaming earlier today, and my voice just feels a little tired right now. I've actually been on the phone a lot and a lot of weird things going on today. It's been a busy day, but what I would like to be able to do is spend some more time going over some of the tax math problems separately. So I want to remind you and show you again, if you're a student of Global Real Estate School, that out here, if you exit out of here and you go to the content library, top left-hand corner, and you go all the way down here to what I call the study sessions, you can go all the way down. First of all, this is chapter 7, so I'm going to be replacing it with what we go over. But down here you can see August 11th, 17th, 23rd, September 7th. Taxes is going to go right down here below legal descriptions, as well as what I record tomorrow for the math, okay? Some of these older study sessions I've left up here because they are still good study sessions, but as I come in and replace some of these, I'm probably going to pull these out and get rid of those, okay? But for now, just remember, I've got lots of study sessions that you can go watch at any time. You can go watch this chapter 7 right here, And it's actually the taxes that we covered tonight, but I go into it a little bit more in depth, okay? So just remember they're all here. And then at the very, very bottom, you'll see, you can see last week's study session if you missed it. I'm going to put taxes right there as well as what I go over tomorrow. So again, you get that from the content library and just scroll on down. I have to tell you, the students who utilize all the resources in the course pass the test. They do. Sometimes I remember recently, I guess it wasn't recently, it's probably been about a year now, but I remember somebody wrote me and they didn't pass the test and they were a little discouraged, and they gave me all these topics that they said they never saw in the course. And I'm looking at the topics, I'm like, they're all right. They're all in there. I mean, I told them exactly where everyone was. Had somebody recently said, I saw a question about a reverse annuity mortgage. What's that? Well, I know there's a lot of information in the course, but trust me, I cover reverse annuity mortgages. I mean, I cover it on the live streams. And so I got to looking in their dashboard, and because it bothered me. I'm like, I want everybody to pass, and I don't want anybody to think I let them down. And so I looked in their dashboard, and they never opened the practice exams. They never opened the study sessions. They didn't look at any of that stuff. And that same day, I kid you not, I know it was God giving me an answer to say, don't get discouraged. You are doing the right, you're doing the right thing for your students. Because later that same day, I got an email from another student who said, hey, John, I passed the course on the first attempt. Everything was right there that you told me about. Thank you so much. And you know what? I went and looked in their dashboard. They had been in the practice exams. They had looked at the study sessions. They had gone into the review modules. They were doing, you've got to put that extra effort into the school if you want to pass the test. And you know what? It's the same way if you want to make a good living selling real estate. You got to work hard. I want my real estate school to be a very successful school. And I got to be honest with you. I'm doing great in Missouri, South Dakota, Kansas. We get people in Oklahoma and Indiana, but there's some states I haven't done as well in, and it's discouraging. But you know what I did today? I prospected, and I reached out to people in Virginia, schools that are using other online schools as their online provider. And so we'll get out of our business, whether you're in real estate or a real estate school, or you have a little coffee shop or whatever, you'll get out of your business in proportion to what you put into it. And so it's not only the same way in passing the test, but it is the same way to make a living selling real estate. So I'm here to help you. I appreciate you watching the live stream. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you reach out to me, and I'll get more posted tomorrow evening. Hey, thank you again. Have a great evening. I'm going to go have a hot cup of tea. So thanks.